What's up everybody, Zarin Beatty here with XPAND. I'm here to share with you a powerful interview with Guyett, the Onnit Academy Battle Ropes Master Coach. I took this interview back when I did the course earlier this year. Phenomenal curriculum, phenomenal certification, and Aaron knows what he's doing through anything he does. He's a powerhouse of information. This interview covers how the battle ropes can be programmed to train the different metabolic pathways in the body, as well as different planes of motion that we go through. Thank you, Aaron, for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoy, and I know that you will. Thank you. All right, well, Zarin Beatty from XPAND. I'm here with Guyett, the Onnit Master Coach of the battle ropes. First of all, this certification was phenomenal, man. I learned so many different components that I never even thought existed with the battle ropes. So great curriculum, great organization, and is there anything that you may think could bring someone more into the course, or?
Yeah, so I think what this certification, so the Onnit Academy certifications are incredible. What makes this one a little bit different is we delve into energy systems, metabolic pathways. And I think if you're a coach or a trainer, or you are an enthusiast that wants to build better programming for your client, you have to understand our biochemistry at least to a small, simple level. You need to be able to at least break it down to a small, simple level so that you can make them powerful if you want them powerful or explosive. You can make a client strong if you want them strong. You can make a client last longer if they want to last longer. So what does that look like from a metabolic pathway standpoint, energy system standpoint? Now, obviously, our metabolism is much broader than just it only moving, right? There's a lot of other digestive components. So we don't dive all the way in, but we dive in enough to give immediate programming protocol and methodology that a trainer can hang their hat on and know that they can get their client to change, to adapt in their biochemical process to become more explosive and be able to do that longer, and to be stronger and be able to do that longer, and to be more aerobic and to be able to do movements for longer periods of time, right? Either more explosive, more force production, or doing force production for a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm. Which is what I found so great about the course actually, is that all those different metabolic pathways can be accessed and trained through the battle ropes.
Yeah.
Like it's more versatile than we even can think of, and unless you're in the situation to experience them, and then they just click and click and click. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you're using a rope and you understand what force is, right? Because a lot of times we pigeonhole force into amplification of gravity through this tool, right? Gravity is now amplified because it's a weighted thing, right? Then we've painted ourselves into a corner. But then if force is force, right? We can have force through frequency or the lack of frequency. So now we can manipulate that force or adjust that force to get whatever homeostatic or adaptive response we want from our client, as long as we adhere to some of the principles, some of the basics. Mm-hmm. Another great one is transverse. So this is something that stays in line with all of Onnit Academy. We're basing a ton of stuff on rotation, because we understand that 90 to 100% of human movement, arguably 100%, but at least 90% of human movement is based off of rotation. So if 90% of movement is based off of rotation, why is it not being trained in these gyms? Or I look at them as laboratories, right? But in these gyms, whether it's big boxes or little boutiques or whatever, we tend to stay in the sagittal plane. If we get crazy, then we get out of it and go into the frontal plane and move laterally. And then every once in a while, we're training a little bit of counter rotation or transverse rotation, just because we have to, because of our human anatomy. But we're not actually training rotation, even though in sport and athletes, they use it all of the time. So they use it when they're on the field, but then they go to the gym and then they pound out their sagittal plane movements, and then they wonder why there's injuries, right? That's a piece to that puzzle. So we try to unlock that and allow for a lot of transverse plane to be trained in a lot of different ways with the battle rope, and you'll see that for every tool within the Onnit Academy.
And what helped me personally was, since doing Muay Thai for 6 years, they showed me which way I can rotate better
than the other. Or playing golf my whole life, it showed me where my power comes from and how much lack of rotation I have going the opposite way, which I will definitely be working on from here on out for sure.
Well, and the cool part is, like, you'll see a much cleaner, kind of sexier wave, right?
Sexy,
when you can
man.
produce it both ways really well. When it's one side dominant, it tends to, you can see that very clearly in the rope and immediately change your coaching or cue that so that, okay, let's train that deficiency, right? And not overdo it to where we injure somebody, but let's train it so that we don't have an injury because you have a apparent asymmetry, right, in your rotation or in your movement patterning. So, yeah.
And then I guess the last question would be, are there any safety tips or advice from someone that could see these videos and implement on their own that you would recommend someone to know?
Yeah, so I think first of all, start small, right? Don't start grandiose, doing the biggest, craziest, hardest things. Start simple and easy. Keep it in a manageable range of motion. If you have control and quality in that range of motion, keep it there. When you start going out of ranges of motion with the rope or with your movement and you don't feel like you have control, then just bring it back. And then slowly but surely, what you're gonna find is you're gonna be able to progress and open up that range of motion, open up that control. That's gonna create more body awareness, more body control. That means you're gonna be more athletic. You're gonna be able to do more stuff with the joints that you have. So treating the shoulder joint like a ball and socket joint instead of a hinge joint, or treating the hip like a ball and socket joint, not a hinge joint. And then really working at slowly but surely building mobility and stability with your strength and with your power and with your movements to where they become comfortable and quality, right? And then moving into that next level of range of motion.
Which is kind of just like building your own foundation and learning where your foundation is just by going through the movements. Therefore, your results just skyrocket.
Yeah, and it is amazing how fast you improve on the ropes, as long as you don't overdo it and come out into these really vulnerable, scary positions. But you start small and you start easy and you create small waves, and then before you know it, the next session and the next session and the next week, you're creating huge waves down bigger ropes, heavier ropes, longer ropes, and so you know that you're generating far more force.
Aaron, thank you, man.
Yeah,
so
bro.
much.
Yeah, thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.